good people, how you doing? I hope you're having a damn good day and welcome back to the channel. We are going to be doing, well, what I hope to be a full-time series, a 20 video series. And what I plan to do in this series is create the tactics of every Premier League team currently. So the 2022-23 season, those Premier League teams, FIFA 23, I intend to try and replicate and manipulate the game to recreate those tactics. So starting off with Manchester United, of course, my team, a very easy one for me, I think, because I do watch them quite a bit, some might say. And as you can see here, I've tried to replicate Erik Ten Hag's 4-2-3-1 type system. Of course, in this system, we're playing with just a solid back four, to be honest. One DM, one central midfielder, and then of course I've Marcus Rashford and Antony to left and right winger specifically. And then of course we've got Martial and Bruno Fernandes in the 10 position. Of course, as you can see here, our bench is quite good, quite great, needs a bit of improvement. But of course, as things stand right now, we've recently signed Marcel Sabitzer, who's going to add a lot of great depth to this this position right here, Eriksen's position, of course, and it does allow for Fred and McTominay to rotate a fair amount. So 4-2-3-1. Of course, Ten Hag has played a 4-3-3 before. He played like a diamond in the midfield, but for now, for these tactics right here, right now, we are going to go with just this formation. Of course, he does use this formation the most. And then, of course, there is a defensive game plan that I will get into after I've given you the instructions and the tactics as well as the roles for this one. So, looking at the tactics, of course, we've got it set on pressure on heavy touch. Of course, the counter press, the press, everything that Ten Hag has installed in this team, and we do it quite well these days. It's built on the press and try and get the opponent to make the mistake. Of course, for width defensively, it's always good to have a very compact team, and Manchester United this season anyway have been very, very decent. I think we're third in terms of clean sheets in Europe at the moment, which is fantastic, and just having a compact defense is one thing to go along with that. So 20% on width works out quite well. Of course, Manchester United, they do tend to play a higher line, which allows you to catch the opposition off guard in terms of the offsides, and as well as maintaining your high press up the field, so you don't have to cover a lot of distance when you win the ball back. Casemiro does help a lot with that, but we'll get to those instructions soon. So that's set on 60. I mean, to be fair, I would say maybe against like the lower end Premier League teams, you could probably put it up to 65, 70. As for the offense, got it set on slow build-up as well as forward runs. The likes of Marcus Rashford has been phenomenal with the forward runs that he makes. Of course, Antony needs to get a bit sharper, but he'll get there eventually. Anthony Martial has done fairly well in the limited game time that he's had this season. And it just works out so well. I mean, Bruno Fernandes as well, making the overlapping runs of the striker and whatnot. So forward runs essential to the success of the attack. As for the width of the attack, we've got it set on 40. Of course, you want more or less Marcus Rashford and Antony kind of staying narrow, but in terms of their instructions and so on, they will tend to be a bit wider. So if setting it on 40 helps quite a bit. And then as for players in the box, you have it set on 7, so the likes of Bruno Fernandes will be somewhat the extra man in the box. So of course you'll have your 3 forwards in Antony, Martial and Rashford in this case, and then the fourth one being Bruno Fernandes. So it could work out quite well. So that's set on 7. As for corners and free kicks, Manchester United do tend to try and overload the box with players, and that's why I've got it set on 4 each respectively. Whatever. Also, guys, of course, I have made an Erik Ten Hag video in the past, and that's gotten like 5,000 views or whatever. Hopefully this video can surpass it. So if you can, smash that like button down below. That would be great. And it'll just make me know that it's an encouraging factor in trying to create the next set of tactics. So stay tuned for those. And moving on though to the roles, we've got Bruno Fernandes as captain, Eriksen as the free kick specialist, Eriksen and Shaw as the corner specialist, and then Bruno Fernandes as the penalty kick taker. So I mean, you can really mix and match however you want it to be. It's literally your preference. I've just gone with a more realistic approach to how life is at Manchester United currently. So yeah. As for the instructions, we will start off with David De Gea. So, come for crosses and sweeper keeper. I don't know why it wasn't set for the sweeper keeper there, but Ten Hag loves to play with the sweeper keeper. Of course, David De Gea at the start wasn't the best at it, but he's become a lot better. He's refined his skills, his know-how on when to rush off his line and get to the ball and so on. And I think he's done a fairly good job. Of course, kicking is a big factor in being a goalkeeper under Erik ten Hag. So the kicking ability of David De Gea is a must. So yeah. Moving on though to our centre backs. Basically the same except for a preference change. Lisandro Martinez, of course, brilliant player. I love him to bits. I've got him set on aggressive interception, so he'll step. You can have him also on step up, but I kind of leave it as stick to position because it takes him out of position so many times. But aggressive interceptions allows him just to like step into tackles a bit more, and just show you that more dogged approach to defending, which is a very Lisandro Martinez type thing to do. So yeah, we basically have them. You can have it on normal, your preference of course, but for Lisandro Martinez, it makes sense to go with an aggressive interception. As for our fullbacks, both set on more or less the same, but in terms of Erik ten Hag's system, he loves to play with an inverted fullback. Of course, you do see Luke Shaw as well as Diogo Dolo making overlapping runs from time to time, so that's why it's not set on inverted or overlap, it's just set on mixed attack. You want to have a fair, decent mix of inverted and overlapping runs from your fullbacks. Of course, fullbacks are so important in the system, so try when you are playing the game, try and use them as much as possible to sling in crosses and set up opportunities for your forwards. And then Luke Shaw, he's set on balance attack, not join the attack, because more or less with an Erik ten Hag system, of course, in FIFA it's hard to do, and Luke Shaw suits this role a lot better than Dalot. But for Luke Shaw, balance attack makes more sense, because for the right back, Diogo Dalot, we have him in joining more of the attack. So attacking down the right-hand side will be more prominent for this formation. But if you have an Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you can have him set on balance and have Luke Shaw or Tyrell Malacia bombing forward a bit more. So, but that's how I've gone with it. It basically more or less makes like a back three with Varane, Martinez and Shaw from time to time, and that more or less looks like the setup and formation that Erik ten Hag goes with in game. So that's why I've done it. As for Casemiro, the man, the myth, the legend, the man that keeps this team all together, the glue in the midfield, the man who just stitches it all up. Casemiro, off the bat, cut passing lanes, of course he's brilliant at doing that. Stay back when attacking, of course, shielding that back four / back two from time to time of Martinez and Varane. Normal interceptions, yes. Aggressive, it just drains stamina so much, so I try not to do that for a lot of the players, unless you're like actively going for a very pressing counter-attack type team where you can win the ball back in midfield and just bomb on. You could do that with the Manchester United. I mean, they do tend to counter-attack from time to time against the bigger teams, so aggressive interceptions might be a thing. But for this formation, recreating Erik ten Hag's tactics, not really. As for cover wing, or defensive position, cover wing is great because when the likes of Dalot or Luke Shaw bomb on, it allows Casemiro to slot into the left back or right back position and do a good job there. So the man that stitches it all together, man, great player. And the player sitting next to him is the centre midfielder. He's not a DM, so change him to a CDM. No, change him to a central midfielder, not a CDM. But yeah, so Eriksen's got stay back while attacking, stay on the edge of the box, normal interceptions, and then free roam. This allows him to have obviously a freer role in terms of playmaking for the likes of Rashford, Martial, Anthony, Fernandes, and so on. And also because he's a central midfielder, we have him set back. Well, we have him set on stay back when attacking, but it allows him to still play in the midfield area. So he'll play higher up than Casemiro in a way. And it does tend to create a nice shape in the game. So, yeah. As for our cam / number 10, Bruno Fernandes, fucking amazing work rate, excuse the swearing. I've got him set on comeback on defense, balanced in terms of edge of the box or runs into the box, of course, with the 7 players in the box, or with the players in the box sets on 7, I should say. It does tend to force him to make the late runs into the box, which is a very Bruno Fernandes type thing to do. And then, of course, interceptions are normal, and then stick to position. We want him to not have this free roll or drift wide all the time because it allows, or it'll take positions away from the likes of Anthony or Rashford. So you want him in this half space, finding pockets of space to operate in. And then as for our wingers, they are both set on the same. We're just going to go on to Anthony quickly. Come back on defense, of course. You've got to help the defense at all times with an Erik ten Hag system. Stay wide. I've seen quite a few tactics videos for Manchester United, And a lot of them have like get in behind, cut inside. But the reality is, Ten Hag likes his wingers to stay wide and then drive inside. So it's got to be an active thing that you do as the user to try and recreate the system to the best of your ability. So Anthony and Rashford are both on stay wide, and then you'll get the ball along the baseline and forcibly drive them into the box or cut in and cross or shoot. So yeah, and then of course getting into the box is a big thing. So we'll have the ball on the touchline, and then we'll get the ball in the box as well. So it does add a lot of great attacking abilities to the forward line and to the team as a whole. But as you can see, Rashford is set on the exact same thing as well. Now, Anthony Martial, stay central, getting behind, and he will be the outlet ball. That is what Erik ten Hag demands from his strikers. The work rate needs to be good. Pressing from the front is essential. And of course, being able to beat the opposition centre-backs with balls in behind is crucial. Of course, you can play Rashford here. You can play Martial here. Of course, Wout Weghorst, you can also play here. I would assume for him, it would be a bit different. Maybe more of a target man. Of course, stay central and of course, stay forward. But because you've got the pace of Martial, Rashford, and whoever else you want to put in the team, this is more realistic in terms of the approach Ten Hag takes to the games with the players that he has. Of course, so that is that. And then, of course, we've got the defensive work rate type thing. Okay, so as you can see here, Eriksen is set as a DM because obviously in the big games, Ten Hag, he's a more, I don't know, he goes with a more solid approach. He would rather shore up the defense, and that's why Eriksen would remain as a DM and not a wandering central midfielder. So everything more or less stays the same in terms of the instructions. But Eriksen, of course, he's a DM now, but this is the best thing here. The deep line playmaker role, of course, mainly for DMs. That's the role that he will take up. Of course, Casemiro will be the destroyer in the midfield, but Eriksen will be the guy spraying the passes with Bruno Fernandes, but a deeper lying version than the previous one. As for the tactics, we've got this slightly different. Of course, pressure on heavy touch, 40, and the depth is slightly lower now because, of course, Manchester United are quite happy to give up some of the ball to the opposition, allow them to apply pressure, soak up that pressure, and then hit the counter-attack through the likes of Martial, Rashford, Antony, Bruno, and whoever else is attacking on the field that time. Slow build-up and possession. So no forward runs this time. We are trying to more or less create the good opportunity opposed to just a random mediocre forward run that gets created and then a shot. Of course, against Arsenal a few weeks ago, United were very compact and composed with the ball when they had it, and I think this more or less suits that type of tactic that Ten Hag went with on the day. As for width, it's set on 60, so it's a little bit wider than normal. And then, of course, we've still got the 7, the 4, and the 4. So, that is that, people. The Erik ten Hag system. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, smash that like button down below. And of course, I hope you have a damn good day. And yeah, we should be out with another tactics approach and another tactics video very soon on the channel. Like I said, the goal is to make all 20. But of course, it does take time as I need to watch the teams play. So, I'll have to watch, assess, and do. But who knows? Maybe we have a Graham Potter video or a De Zerbi. De Zerbi really does interest me a lot. So we'll see how it goes from there. But of course, until the next time, I hope you guys have an outstanding damn day, and I'm out.